Let's say you want to get started with this running thing. You've spent a lot of time thinking about it, have maybe gone on the occasional run, but you've never stayed consistent, are constantly comparing yourself with everyone else, or just haven't made progress in years of trying. In this video, I'm going to answer all the questions you might have about gear, nutrition, workouts, and recovery, as well as a super helpful tip right at the end. Basically, everything you need to know to get started. Hey guys, my name is Kush, and I started running over 2 years ago to try and lose some weight for a holiday, but here I am 2 years later having run a marathon, multiple half marathons, and a 21-minute 5K. I had no idea what I was doing most of the time, but making all of these mistakes has given me a pretty good idea of what you really need to focus on and what you should avoid when you first start running. Alright, let's talk about gear. Does gear matter as a beginner? The short answer is no, but kind of. When you're first starting out, your focus should be on building the habit of going outside and running consistently, and basically nothing else. Focusing too much on gear can create analysis paralysis or cause procrastination, all of which takes away from the most important thing: running consistently. In saying this, I would recommend buying a basic pair of running shoes. Now, please don't scour through Reddit reviews, fancy marketing material, or watch YouTube videos about stack height, responsiveness, cushion, or stability. None of this matters at the moment. All you need to do is go down to your local sports store, try on a few different shoes in a few different sizes, and choose the ones that you find the most comfortable and that you somewhat like the look of. This is just so you're more likely to wear them. Only when you've completely worn out this first pair of shoes should you even know what the word responsiveness means. The thing is, your biomechanics are different from everyone else's, so you kind of need to go through a process of trial and error to figure out which shoes work for you. So the best way to do this is to start simple and cheap and then slowly work your way up. Okay, the next most talked about piece of running gear is running watches. You do not need one. Again, all we need to do is build the habit of running consistently, and buying a shiny new smartwatch doesn't really serve this purpose. What I would recommend, however, is downloading the Strava app on your phone and using it to track your runs. You don't need to pay for the premium subscription or start over-analyzing your distance or pace. We're purely doing this for documentation purposes. As you get deeper into your running journey, it can sometimes feel like you're not making any progress, so it can be motivating to look back at where you started. Plus, it's just cool to have a record of all your runs. So you can directly use the Strava app on your phone or sync it up to a smartwatch if you already have one, and just start tracking your runs. In terms of accessories, there's basically nothing else that you need. Running has become overly commercialized in recent years, so you can basically avoid all of the noise and just go outside and run. Also, if you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Alright, let's talk about training and workouts. I'm going to keep this extremely simple. There's only 2 types of runs that you need to do when you're first starting out: easy runs and hard runs. A mistake that I made and have seen a lot of beginners make is going out and running as hard as possible on every single run. And while this will help you make a little bit of progress, it's ultimately hurting you more than it's benefiting you. Remembering that our one and only goal at the moment is to build the habit of running consistently, going as hard as you can every time doesn't serve this purpose. So what we want to do is incorporate easy runs. Now, there are countless benefits to easy runs, but the most significant one is that they reduce the friction to running more regularly. They're less taxing on your body, which keeps you fresh for upcoming runs, and they're more enjoyable, which makes it mentally easier to get out the door. An easy run is exactly as it sounds. It should be slow and feel relatively easy. A good way to check this is to see if you can comfortably say a sentence while you're running, and if you need to do a combination of walking and running to make this happen, that's completely fine. You don't need to worry about heart rate or pace or cadence. You shouldn't even know what zone 2 means at the moment. You can just completely go off of how you feel. In saying all of this, hard runs are still important for pushing your fitness, increasing competence, and building that mental resilience. These are the runs that have you lying on the floor, gasping for air, and questioning your life choices. They suck, but in a twisted way, they start to feel good, and you might even find yourself looking forward to them. There are countless different types of hard runs you can do, such as tempos, intervals, or hill sprints, but when you're first starting out, you don't want to overcomplicate it. For your first hard run, I would recommend choosing a distance that you would find challenging and then going out and trying to run it as fast as you can. Then in each subsequent hard run, try and improve one aspect of the run, either by increasing the distance, going slightly faster, or reducing the amount that you walk. Improve each time, but the important thing is to focus on only one aspect per run. Here's how I would set out a week of running if I was starting out. Because the hard runs are more taxing on our bodies, you should do only one of these per week. You should then fill in the rest of your week with 2 to 4 easy runs based on your schedule and external responsibilities. And if you have to do only one easy run per week to not feel overwhelmed, then that's completely fine. Start small and adjust over time, keeping in mind that the most important thing right now is building the habit of running consistently. Alright, let's talk about nutrition. If you don't have a running background, or like me, you come from a purely lifting background, you'll have to change your perspective on nutrition a little bit. I spent a lot of my early fitness journey hyper-focused on maximizing protein while keeping everything else low, but this approach falls apart when you start running. Because while protein is still important for building strength and recovery, carbs are the fuel source. Being in a constant deficit of carbs while increasing your running volume will cause your body to break down over time and will ultimately hurt your progress. So make sure you're consuming enough carbs. Other than this, you should just aim to eat a healthy, balanced diet. Unlike strength or aesthetic-focused training, running heavily benefits from a balanced diet, which ultimately helps you feel healthier and like a more complete human being. Now, in terms of fueling, you don't necessarily need food before an easy run, but I generally try to have a carb-loaded snack before my hard or longer runs. The easiest option is a banana, but depending on the intensity or duration of your workout, you can have something heavier like bread or rice cakes with honey and a banana. Just try out a few different options and see what works best for you. After a run, you should aim to get in protein to build muscle and recover. Overall, just make sure you're not under-eating, you're consuming enough carbs, and you're eating an overall balanced diet. Okay, let's talk about recovery. Coming back to our primary goal, all we care about is building the habit of running consistently. And a big part of this is recovering effectively so we come back to the next session feeling ready to run again. The first obvious aspect of recovery is sleep. Now, you've probably seen enough videos on sleep, so I won't bore you with the details, but basically just sleep at regular times and get enough of it. Easy runs also play a role in recovery as they let us run more without taxing our bodies, but we've already gone over this. And another thing I would add here is stretching and foam rolling. While these aren't crucial, there are cases where you might have excessive tightness or soreness in certain areas, and it's worth stretching or foam rolling these areas before or after runs. I like to stretch regularly anyway because it helps me feel better, and I spent a lot of time foam rolling my quads and hamstrings earlier in my journey because of an issue that I had with my knee. It can also help to do some dynamic warm-ups before a run just to get the blood flowing and get rid of some stiffness. Okay, before I go, I want to leave you with a tip that has had the largest positive impact on my progress, and I genuinely don't think I'd be anywhere near where I am now without this. Set goals. The easiest way to do this is sign up for a race that feels slightly outside your comfort zone, but you know you can accomplish with some training, and then set a target to either finish it or finish it within a certain time. Regularly setting goals with deadlines will get you running more consistently and pushing yourself harder than you thought was possible. It's the easiest way to build momentum in your running journey, and I would highly recommend doing this as soon as possible. Go online right now, find a race that's within your realm of possibility, and sign up. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. If you enjoyed this video or got some value out of it, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Also, YouTube thinks you'll like this video, so you should definitely click on it, and goodbye.